In May of 1960, U-2 pilot Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union. In response, the United States was faced with the need for an ultra-high-performance reconnaissance aircraft. Designs had already been drafted for an aircraft which could fill the role, and this aircraft would later develop into the A-12 Archangel, under the Black Project Oxcart, the predecessor to the SR-71 Blackbird. Based on a previous study from the 1940s named L-171, Lockheed designer Kelly Johnson also proposed a high-speed disposable drone that also flew at extremely high altitudes, making it difficult to shoot down. The concept would use many of the design and technical aspects from the recent A-12 program, such as being built primarily of titanium secretly purchased from the Soviet Union under the cloak of fake businesses, as well as the recent advances in Ramjet technology. The goal was an aircraft that could penetrate deeply into enemy territory on reconnaissance missions that would be considered too risky for piloted aircraft. In October of 1962, the Skunk Works drone project was approved and funding began on development of the now new Q-12 drone, hidden under the cloak as a Black Project. In 1963, the Q-12 was assigned to the newly created program called Project Tagboard. Since the drone would be carried by another aircraft to launch altitude, two A-12s would be modified and redesignated as M-21s, with M standing for mother, while the Q-12 redesignated as D-21, with D standing for daughter. The D-21 was planned to be powered by a Mach XRJ-43 MA-20S TAC-4 Ramjet engine, which was a modified version of the two XRJ-43 MA-20 engines used to power the CIM TAC-10 Beaumark surface-to-air missile. The Ramjet engine itself could not be lighted off until reaching speeds greater than Mach 2, and would so require assistance from a booster or other method. The goal of the program was, after returning from its photo reconnaissance mission, it would then fly into friendly territory or international waters and descend to an unpowered altitude of 60,000 feet, and a hatch assembly would eject from the D-21. This hatch would contain the single Hicon HR-335 camera, film canister, the inertial navigation system, flight control system, and recovery beacons. The assembly would then be retrieved in flight by a JC-130 mid-air recovery system. Once the hatch was ejected, the drone would then continue on to self-destruct once an altitude of 52,000 feet was reached. If the JC-130 missed retrieval, the hatch would then deploy flotation devices for shipboard recovery. The M-21 was equipped with a top pylon for mounting a D-21 piggyback, as well as a secondary seat for a launch control officer. Before detachment, the D-21's engine would be activated to assist with reaching Mach 3, as well as the D-21's fuel tanks being topped off using the M-21's fuel tanks, and then separated by use of ballistic charges. Detachment of the D-21 would prove to be tricky and require the M-21 to be flying at Mach 3 speed to ensure light-off of the D-21's Ramjet engine, while also conducting an extended 0.9G dive to assist with D-21 separation. The first flight of the MD-21 took place in December of 1964 with D-21 number 503, but was a simple aerodynamic study, and the D-21 would remain attached to the pylon for the duration of the flight. The first detachment did not happen until a year later in March of 1966 with D-21 number 503. The drone released, but hovered close to the M-21 for a few moments until gaining distance. Kelly Johnson stated this as the most dangerous maneuver we have ever been involved in any airplane I have ever worked on. That D-21 would continue on to crash after flying just a few hundred miles. In that same year, Lockheed would go on to conduct 3 more test flights and detachments of D-21s, number 504, 505, and 506. The third flight and second detachment took place in April of 1966. D-21 number 506 properly separated and was able to reach an op altitude of 90,000 feet and reached a speed of Mach 3.3. After flying approximately 2,000 miles, D-21 number 506 unfortunately experienced a hydraulic pump failure and crashed. Despite losing number 506, the test was widely considered successful, and an order for 15 more D-21s was placed. In July of 1966, the fourth test took place. D-21 number 505 detached from the M-21 as planned and successfully flew through its entire mission, but near the end, the surveillance hatch did not release due to an electronics failure. Despite being another small setback, it was again considered a successful test, but the fifth flight and fourth detachment of D-21 number 504 would prove to be fatal. The initial 3 test flights were conducted at 72,000 feet at Mach 3.12 while in a 0.9G slow dive to assist with D-21 separation. Concern was raised due to the possibility of M-21 pilots being unable to conduct such a maneuver in midst of being under potential attack from interceptors or missiles. Due to this concern, the fifth test flight was to be conducted under 1G Mach 3 acceleration while in level flight. Unfortunately, in July of 1966, an accident took place during this fourth test flight of D-21 number 504. Within seconds of the D-21 detaching, the drone experienced an engine unstart malfunction, which made it lose thrust. Without power, the drone was unable to penetrate the M-21's shock wave and instead bounced off of it, pitching down, then colliding with the drone pylon on the M-21, causing the M-21 to pitch up. The D-21 then collided again with the M-21, where the M-21's wings meet the forward fuselage. Following impact damage, a localized explosion, and an ensuing sudden uncontrolled pitch-up of the M-21 while at Mach 3, the intense stress resulted in the complete disintegration of the M-21 into two pieces, leading to the ultimate destruction of both aircraft. Pilot Bill Park and Launch Control Officer Ray Torick remained in the now falling forward fuselage until reaching a low altitude and ejecting over the ocean off the coast of California. Sadly, Ray Torick drowned due to either a damaged pressure suit or visor, while pilot Bill Park survived. The death of Ray Torick would mark the termination of all MD-21 operations and the beginning of the D-21B launch method, codenamed Senior Bowl. Two B-52Hs were modified to carry the now redesignated D-21Bs. From 1967 to 1968, the 15 remaining D-21s were modified into the D-21B configuration. During this time, 19 additional D-21Bs were built. With this new design, the D-21Bs would be attached to a long, solid propellant rocket booster. This booster would ignite after being gravity released from a B-52H and then propel the D-21B to the speed required to ignite the Ramjet engine, typically in the Mach 3 range. The booster itself weighed approximately 13,000 pounds and was 50 feet long, making it significantly longer and heavier than the D-21 itself. The booster was also equipped with a rear tail fin that would assist with keeping the assembly straight during flight, but could also be folded for ground clearance when the B-52 was on the ground. Initial testing took place at the Nevada Test and Training Range located in Nevada, or famously known as Area 51. Under the 4200 Support Squadron, 6 test flights of the D-21B configuration took place under the nicknames Captain Hook 1 through Captain Hook 6. The first test launch using D-21B number 501 was on September 28, 1967, but the drone fell off of the B-52's launch pylon due to a stripped nut before the B-52 reached its intended launch point. The drone's booster lit, but the D-21B drove straight into the ground, completely destroying the drone. Kelly Johnson himself called the accident very embarrassing. From November 6, 1967 through July 10, 1969, 11 test flights of the D-21Bs were conducted with varying levels of success. The program continued to experience intermittent issues with hatch ejection and recovery, but the program continued on. The first operational D-21B mission took place out of Anderson Air Force Base on Guam on November 10, 1969, as part of Project Senior Bowl. The project planned for a series of D-21s to separate from their B-52H and fly into China over the Lop Nur nuclear test site to collect data on the communist country's progress of their nuclear testing. The first drone, D-21B number 517, made it to the Lop Nur site, but unfortunately suffered from a guidance system malfunction and instead headed west from Lop Nur. Number 517 continued to fly well into the Soviet Union, likely crashing into the Siberian wilderness. At the time, the U.S. government believed number 517 self-destructed as planned when it descended to 52,500 feet. In March of 1970, a top-secret memorandum by the NRO stated number 517 likely failed to follow its pre-planned flight course due to errors in its computational sines and cosines while verifying its flight path. Post-flight analysis gave the most likely outcome of the drone overshooting the Lop Nur site by 9 miles, causing the drone to continue on until fuel exhaustion. Self-destruct would have occurred at the preset altitude of 52,500 feet, with debris impacting in a region approximately 75 miles east of the Aral Sea in the Soviet Union. It was also speculated that the drone could have experienced structural or mechanical failure at any position along that course. Due to the loss of number 517, the D-21B program underwent a full reassessment of its computational system, with confident corrective actions taking place. A follow-up and successful test flight was performed on February 20, 1970 in an attempt to flush out and correct issues. The crash and recovered wreckage led the Soviets to begin development of their own version of the D-21, the Tupolev Voron, or Raven. A total of 4 D-21B missions were conducted out of Guam, with Communist China's Lop Nor nuclear site as the target. The second mission, on December 16, 1970, D-21 number 523 performed flawlessly, reaching the Lop Nor test site and turned around for hatch ejection. Unfortunately, the electronics module recovery system was damaged during ejection and suffered from a partial parachute failure, and the module plunged to the bottom of the sea along with its photographs. In a top-secret memorandum created 14 days after the flight, it mentions the failure being due to understrength nylon ribbon tape used at the top of the drogue chute. No hardware was recovered from drone number 523, but they did discover understrength nylon tape in drone number 527. The sister drone carried on the B-52, as well as in 2 of 8 drogue chutes inspected at the contractor's facility. This understrength tape could result in failure of the drogue chute, preventing the hatch from decelerating enough before deployment of the main chute, causing failure. The third mission took place on March 5, 1971. D-21B number 526 successfully flew to the Lop Nor site and returned, but after hatch ejection, the mid-air recovery system failed due to a damaged parachute line, and the hatch fell into the ocean. A U.S. Navy destroyer was sent to locate and retrieve the hatch. The hatch was located, but the ship missed its mark on the first recovery pass and had to return. The destroyer then sent a SEAL team into the water to perform the recovery, but they were not able to cut through the stainless steel parachute cables. As the ship attempted a second pass, it drove over the now sunken parachute, causing the hatch to begin sinking, losing the hatch assembly and film completely. The fourth and final operational flight was D-21B number 527 in March 20th of 1971. Number 527 malfunctioned and went down in the Gobi Desert on its approach to the Lop Nor site. The wreckage was found by local authorities and studied by the Chinese military, which helped them later develop their own drone program. After spending nearly 30 years in a junkyard of the China Aviation Museum, in 2010, the drone was sent to be put on display in China's National China Aviation Museum in Beijing. In April of 1971, a top-secret letter from the director of the NRO, John L. McLucas, to Deputy Secretary of Defense David Packard stated, "For some time I have been considering making a recommendation to you that we eliminate NRO Program Office D, which handles drones and aircraft for overhead reconnaissance purposes. I have become increasingly convinced that we should be expending our efforts on upgrading our satellite activities, rather than trying to continue with air-breathing vehicles. We have had essentially no successful drone coverage in our flights over China. To achieve this capability with drones, we will have to spend some more money. The program has operated at a very austere budget level during this period. Simultaneously, we have been considering terminating Tagboard." In a later letter sent on August 27, 1971, Assistant for Security Robert Gottschling stated in a memorandum, "On 15 July, higher authority decided to discontinue the Tagboard project. Therefore, effective that date, Project Tagboard is terminated as an active Byman security compartment, and immediate action will be taken to initiate closeout actions." This was the final end of the D-21 program. At the close of the program, 38 D-21 and D-21B drones had been constructed, with 20 of them expended in launches and testing. The remaining D-21s were initially stored at Norton Air Force Base in California, then moved to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, or famously nicknamed the Boneyard. After spending time at the Boneyard, many D-21s were shipped to various museums and other institutions dedicated to preserving and showcasing historical aircraft. After the fall of the Soviet Union in 1986, Ben Rich, retired engineer and director of Skunk Works, decided to travel to Russia. While in Moscow, a KGB officer gave Rich a gift, which the KGB thought was the remains of a U.S. drone. It turned out that it was actually a piece of D-21 number 517. One can almost imagine the KGB agent, in a thick Russian accent, saying, "Here, I think this belongs to you."